Hey everybody, welcome to a new Genshin Impact video. So, it's about time that I covered the past Dragonspine event, and what better time to cover it than the start of the newest one. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Albedo Story Quest that came out at the same time as the Dragonspine event, and our next video is going to be about the event itself. I'm choosing to cover them separately because this story quest in particular has some pretty interesting lore tidbits that we need to discuss in great length. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into it. We find ourselves walking the streets of Mondstadt. Everything is as we left it the last time we were here. The Good Hunter, the Sigil Shop, everything but the Alchemy Stall, which is attended by a strange green-haired girl. Even though most of the players have already met her through the gacha system, it is the first time the Traveler and Paimon meet her. She introduces herself as Sucrose, Albedo's assistant. The other assistant, Timaeus, was called by Albedo to help him with some unknown project. It's going to become apparent that Albedo doesn't really like giving hard tasks to Sucrose, which is strange because she's quite accomplished as an alchemist, and she can defend herself with an anemo vision. We don't really know why that's the case. Maybe he appreciates her too much to put her in danger, or maybe he doesn't trust her. There doesn't seem to be bad blood between the two alchemists, but we don't know what's going on inside their lab. Maybe the animosity only goes in one direction, unbeknownst to the other party. Whatever the reason is, she got left behind in Mondstadt. She recognizes us as a savior of Mondstadt and asks us to visit Albedo in his new base in Dragonspine. Unfortunately for us, Sucrose has to stay behind to attend to the store, so we go ahead and travel to the mountain. At the door, we get our first sight of Rosaria, the scary nun. We also find the beloved Barbara, the deaconess of the Cathedral of Mondstadt. Barbara's trying to get her to return for choir practice, but she doesn't want to go back. She instead convinces Barbara to return empty-handed, using very manipulative tactics. The contrast between the two nuns becomes quite apparent. Barbara is too naive. She doesn't believe in the evil part of human nature, and Rosaria believes there's only darkness within the heart of humankind. She mentions that the reason behind people asking Barbara to get Rosaria back into choir practice is to make a fool out of Barbara, which seems a little too extreme to be true, especially considering that choir practice is not something that evil people would particularly care much about. She also catches us eavesdropping on them and calls us out for that. During the exchange, a very interesting moment occurs. Let's watch it together.
Seems like that nun's an expert in making people believe anything she wants.
I thought I heard something. Who are you and why are you eavesdropping?
We'd better watch out. She seems like a dangerous villain, or a trickster at best.
Oh, really? I'm a member of the long-standing Favonius Church. You're an eavesdropping pixie from who knows where, and you think I'm the trickster?
Wait, she heard that? But Paimon was whispering so quietly.
And as for this outlander you seem to be following... So it's you. The honor...
So, did you see that? She's hinting that Paimon is a trickster of some sorts. As far as all the characters that we know, Rosaria is the most cynical and trustworthy of them all. Even though her desire to keep the people of Mondstadt from any outside threat seems pure enough, the methods used by her are quite unorthodox. However, we should also keep in mind that she seems to be one of those characters whose predictions seem to come true most of the time, kind of how everything went down with Fischl during the Unreconciled Stars event. This is going to become more apparent as the quest progresses. She recognizes us as the hero that saved Mondstadt from a terrible fate and asks us to look for Albedo alongside her. During the search, she makes another interesting quip about Paimon. Let's have a listen to that.
You know, little pixie, your ability to appear and disappear at will is very interesting.
Yeah?
After committing a crime, you'd be able to leave the scene without a trace.
You're so suspicious. Why is Paimon a criminal in your example?
She's calling Paimon out for her ability to disappear without a trace, which opens the possibilities for Paimon being a big player within the world of Teyvat. She could be running things in the background while the Traveler is preoccupied with work, like the Spiral Abyss, running dominions, and doing commissions for the Adventurers Guild. This blew my mind the first time I heard about it. It never really occurred to me that Paimon could be far away when she's not interacting with the player. It's made me more aware of her presence during my play sessions doing any sort of task within the game. If we're to understand her role within the story, we need to take note of the parts of the story where she's more active. So, going back to the quest, we find Albedo sketching some Hilichurl quite deep inside of Dragonspine. He starts talking about the reason for drawing the Hilichurls, but Rosaria interrupts him and leaves the scene before anyone can stop her. She's not interested in trivial matters, she only wants to know his motives, and that's not something she's going to understand just talking to him about Hilichurls in his paintings. After Rosaria leaves the scene, we state our reasons for being there and we introduce ourselves. Albedo greets us with enthusiasm and begins to talk about us. He quickly realizes that from the things he's heard about us in our most recent interaction with him, that the traveler is from another world. He asks us to participate in his research. His research into the essence of life allows him to revive and revitalize dead plants. We know from his stories that this is called the Art of Khemia, and it was developed within the underground realm of Khaenri'ah. There's a lot to talk about in regards to Khaenri'ah, so I might be making another video about it in the future. But for now, all you need to know is that Kaya, Dainsleif, and Albedo come from there, and that it suffered a great cataclysm. We will talk about this cataclysm later. Getting back to the topic at hand, Albedo has a seed from another world, and he cannot get it to sprout just like he can to the plants of this world. We don't know if this seed comes from Khaenri'ah or Celestia, but I suspect it might come from the latter since he's asking us for help. In exchange for our help, he offers us Mora, knowledge, and the answer to the questions we are seeking. This intrigues the traveler, and he accepts the proposition without really giving it much thought. We also see Rosaria hiding behind the rocks, spying on our little reunion. She seems worried that this brief alliance could constitute a risk to Mondstadt. She might not be too far off considering the things we're going to learn at the end of this quest. We meet Albedo further in the mountain. He's ready and eager to start experimenting, but Paimon has some questions regarding the nature of this particular experiment. It turns out that the seed and what grows out of it is not really important to him. He even offers us the fruits of this sprout as a reward for Paimon. Instead, he's more interested in the method. He says that if he manages to awaken otherworldly life in another world in Teyvat, he will be closer to create life through the Art of Khemia. From his in-game stories, we discover that Albedo is not really human. He's a homunculus created by his master Rhindaughter and tasked with one assignment. He has to show his master the truth and meaning of this world. That's why he's doing all of this. With this newfound knowledge of his intentions, we continue with the experiments. He asks us a few questions regarding our anatomy and our relationship with Paimon. This is where a very interesting part of the conversation takes place. While we listen to it, keep a close eye on Paimon.
Firstly, do you have any extra organs? A second heart? A fourth stomach? Things of that nature. Fascinating. And this floating child is connected to your body in some way?
What a stupid question! Can't you see the gap between us? And another thing, it's Paimon, not floating child.
I was merely considering the possibility that you were an external organ. Perhaps there is some invisible force connecting you. Oh, that rules out that possibility. I wonder, did Paimon guide the elemental power to you? But that would mean that Paimon's elemental power would be enough to break through a mountain rock at least 10 meters thick, or cause the waterfall south of Springville to flow backwards. No, that definitely can't be it.
Hey, how would you know anyway?
Did you guys see her expression? That look right there is something only a person that has been discovered would make. We're onto you, Paimon. There's a lot that you're not telling the traveler. After this interesting exchange, Albedo determines that the only way towards knowledge is starting with the experiments. We're tasked with defeating several slimes while Albedo observes. He notes that there's nothing out of the ordinary with our powers compared to those of the other vision holders. He guesses that the difference between the travelers and normal humans must be something within. We continue our travels towards the lab, picking some star silver ore along the way for the next experiment. There, we meet Timaeus, who is his second assistant. We also drink the potion made out of the star silver, which is supposed to ascertain if there's something different in our bodies compared to normal humans. Albedo determines that the results are normal and that there seems to be nothing different between humans and the traveler. He also makes a surprisingly deep monologue talking about being different. Albedo is a somewhat reserved and introverted person, probably caused by the fact that he was raised in a very strict environment and his nature as a homunculus. He knows that he's very different from the rest, but that doesn't change his goodwill towards everybody else. Despite a cold facade, he's still respectful and kind-hearted towards the people that surround him. After that, he continues to experiment with our capabilities a little bit longer. He tests our cooking skills and our elemental sight. Then he goes on to experiment with both our physical strength and our intelligence. He has us running a gliding course, and then we solve a mysterious puzzle that hides some secrets beneath the water. There, we find some abyss glyphs. Albedo draws them for posterity's sake and returns back to the camp. Before we join Albedo at the camp, we're stopped by Rosaria. She wants to know whether we did something dangerous for the people of Mondstadt. As far as her personality goes, this seems like something fitting for a cynical character like her. However, she does mention that she knows Albedo better than we do, and that we should be careful around him. It's impossible to know what kind of history these two have, but it seems like she has experience with Albedo's dark side. When we return to camp, Albedo was waiting for us with the answers we were seeking. It turns out that we are just a normal human being and that there is no difference between the nature of the Outlanders and the humans. Experimenting with us made Albedo realize that he was expecting the seed from Celestia to work like those on Earth, but by letting it be, it manages to bloom almost instantly before vanishing into thin air. This limited display of beauty convinces both parties that even if no higher knowledge was achieved and no great mystery was unearthed, the journey alone can bring great joy to those who treasure life as it is. We bid our farewells and promise to return in case something else is required from us. However, Albedo didn't end up as satisfied as Paimon and the Traveler. On the potion used in one of the experiments lies a strange blue sediment. Then, he straight up drops a bomb on us. Let's watch this small fragment together.
I made a point throughout of telling him how ordinary the results were. But what was that sediment I saw forming at the bottom of the vial? It should not have been there. What could it mean? Those born of Earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities. You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop me?
Alright, this is a lot to take in, so let's break it down bit by bit. Those born of Earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free from impurities. In this fragment, he's alluding to his nature as a homunculus. Real-life alchemists use chalk quite frequently in their experiments, and sometimes it was used to draw transmutation circles. He also mentions that both him and the Traveler are made of a substance that has yet to be defined. This seems to indicate that the substances used in the Art of Khemia to create homunculus and the composition of the beings from Celestia are alike, or similar in nature. He also says that one day he might lose control and destroy Mondstadt and the world if we are not there to stop it. This makes me think that the cataclysm of Khaenri'ah happened as a result of some botched side effects of Khemia. We're going to get deeper into this project at a later date, once we start talking about Durin and the Festering Heart. Thank you so much for watching this analysis video. If you liked what you saw here, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so that you get notified for more Genshin Impact lore content that I put out. The next video is going to be about the events in the game, so please keep an eye open if you're interested in seeing that. I also have to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for helping me reach the milestone of 100 subscribers. It's a huge honor for me to have so many great people interested in my content, so if you stick by, I promise that I'm going to keep making that same great content. I intend to improve each and every single day for you guys. Thank you again for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.